As I write this script in March of 2025, it has been about 9 months since I posted a new video. Why is a long and irrelevant story. I do my best to go with the flow of life, and now life has brought me back to making content. I have a lot to say about various topics, but I want to keep this initial video short because there is another that I want to get out urgently after this important topic. So let's get straight into what I want to say about life. Many people say things like, God is life and God is love. Those sayings are true, but also, in an important way, not true. The thing is that everyone has their own ideas about who and what God is, and many such ideas are quite unkind. So when they say things like, God is love, they have contaminated their experience of love with unkindness. That is why I like to turn those sayings around so that certain truths become clearer. When you say love is God, now it is much harder to imagine an unkind God. We all have a knowing of love deep in our hearts, and it is nothing but kind. So when one has faith in their inner knowing of love, it makes the idea of fearing God absurd, which makes for a much more joyous state of being. Life is God is a saying that I find to be profound. Do you want to prove that God exists? Just point out that life and God are synonymous. I have no doubt that there are people who would argue that life doesn't exist, but such arguments are foolishly absurd. There is a proof that life and God are one and the same thing, but that is for a future video. It is important to understand that the fact that life and God are one and the same does not support religious dogma. It informs us about God, not the other way around. We all know life intimately because life is the kingdom of heaven within us. A very happy truth that such a perspective informs us of is what Eckhart Tolle points out. We cannot lose our life because we are life. Wherever you go, there you are. Because of all the unhappy beliefs that putting the God cart before the life horse has fostered, it is virtually impossible to use the word God to convey one's meaning about certain metaphysical phenomena with satisfying confidence. So I have long sought another word or phrase that might work well. Some people use universe or source. I have used them in the past and still do on occasion. However, all such names seem to lack something vital. Even if one knows God intimately in one's heart, calling God universe or source seems rather impersonal. That at least is how some people take it, in spite of one not meaning to convey that idea. Recently, when I used the word universe, someone cut me off saying that God has a personality and they have a personal relationship with God. It is true that life has personality in such superabundance that to call it personality is rather an insult. So I took that happening as a sign that I need to find a name that properly respects life. Life is not an it nor a thing. Life is the no-thingness that nurtures all things in her feminine aspect and creates all things in his masculine aspect. Having these two aspects, male and female, One could mistakenly think that life is gender neutral, but that is not so. Life is a divine marriage of yin and yang, masculine and feminine essences. A while ago, I hit upon the idea of using a human name that means life, and I know that Zoe means life, so I looked at its etymology and found that the ancient Greeks had many words for life, conveying life's various aspects. Zoe actually means the spiritual aspect of life. Perfect. Problem solved, yes? Well, actually not quite. When I talked to life within, I took to calling her Zoe, and it helps me feel a personal relationship is happening. But therein is the remaining problem. Even though I am aware that Zoe is a gender-neutral name, I have never heard of a man named Zoe, and that made it hard to talk with life whilst properly honouring his masculine aspect. So recently I searched for male versions of Zoe. What I found is that there is no exact male version of Zoe, but people use Zane to serve the same purpose. Zane is also a gender-neutral name, but it is a very yang-sounding name, whereas Zoe sounds yin. In addition, Zane's meaning is gift of God, which brilliantly describes the masculine creative will of life. So now I have a solution. God is life, and life is a divine marriage of Zane and Zoe. I can speak to him or her or the divine union within in a way that honours our relationship and the fact that I also am life, a child of the divine marriage and a divine union myself. I am currently focused on being more male here on earth, but we are all a divine marriage because we are life. Now I have a palette of words to use to talk about and to life. God, life, Zane, Zoe, divine marriage. Yet it is always well to remember that, to paraphrase the first verse of the I Ching, the name of life that can be named is not the eternal name. That is because life is an infinitely infinite deep mystery. From now on, if you hear me say Zane or Zoe in my videos, it will be reasonable to assume that I probably mean the appropriate divine masculine or feminine aspect of life, although I will probably just use the word life. And now you will know what I mean when I do so. That is all for now. Thank you for your attention.